Hey out there, it's Matt Freer from Avid once again here at the Sundance Film Festival, the 40th edition of the Sundance Film Festival. As you know, we're out here talking to editors, some directors, composers about the amazing projects they have here at the festival. One of those editors is Adam Dicterow, who's here with the film In the Summers, which I wish it was summer. It's a little cold out here, Adam, but if you can hang with us for a few minutes, tell us a little bit about your films.
Sure. In the Summers is the story of a dad and his two daughters that he gets custody of during the summer. So we jump through time. It's 4 separate summers, non-consecutive, as the girls grow from small, the children to post-college. And it's the story of addiction, of kind of like the gray area of being a father and struggling with trying to connect with your kids. And that's, in short, what it's really about.
That sounds like a pretty complex story. How did you get associated with this project?
So I've known Nick Ramirez, who is another editor for many years, and he basically put my name in the hat for this film. I met with one of the producers, Dan Tantalian, and via that I met the director. So
I think I know Nick, and that brings me to another question.
Yeah.
I was talking to editor Joseph Krings yesterday, also a New York-based editor. And it's hard not to notice that there are a lot of New York-based editors at Sundance with projects. And so that begs the question, like, what is it about New York that seems to lend itself to the indie scene, I guess?
I don't know. I guess maybe, New York's not a small town, but maybe it's smaller than Hollywood. And maybe more independents are drawn to the hustle and bustle of New York. I don't have the magic answer.
I guess if you did, there'd be even more films from New York here. In terms of, once you signed on to do the project, what was the editorial setup? Did you work from home? Were you working at a facility? And how do you like to have your editing environment set up for a project?
So this was a hybrid model. We were shooting in New Mexico, in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is near White Sands, if anybody's ever heard of that. But we were getting drives, FedEx, back and forth. Mm-hmm. So I was cutting from my house, and then once we were properly in the director's cut, we moved to Parabolic and cut out of that, in person, which is what I prefer. I prefer to be working in person with the director as much as possible. I also like my own space, but I think it was a good balance. And then at the very end, we moved back to my house, and the director came over, and we finished up for the final cut there.
Okay. And in terms of the tell me about your assistant or your editorial crew.
So I had the privilege of working with Angie Rodriguez on this project. She's a fantastic assistant editor and editor. She was working from home, so we were sending material remotely back and forth. But once we were in person at Parabolic, we worked together, which I prefer, like, in terms of the process of working with an assistant. It's better to train them. You both learn from each other when you're
absolutely
together in person. Yeah.
Okay. And so once you find out that the film is going to be at Sundance, mm-hmm. Are there any things that you need to do as the editor to help prep the film for Sundance or any of the screenings here?
Yeah, there's a lot of prep. I mean, we did another screening, and we just went into crazy finishing mode to try to lock it at least, and then finish it. So yeah, it's like once you get that green light, you're just running to the for Sundance is so early in the year, right. And around the holidays, it's tough. But
well, I mean, in terms of screenings as well, we talk about this a lot with feature films. You go through the audience screening process to really refine the film. Do you even have something like that in an indie project? And how do you vet, like, this is working or it isn't working?
I mean, those feedback screenings are, you count on them. They're so important. We only had one on this film, but we talked to editors and directors and other non-film people as well to, like, just get as many notes as possible through, like, links as well. But no, the screenings were the most important because you got, like, the conversations that happen in those settings are so invaluable, so.
When you're not doing a Sundance film or an indie darling, what types of projects are you generally working on? Or are those the kind of projects you're usually working on?
Well, at the moment, that's what I've been working on. I'm an assistant as well. I worked on Barbie with Nick Ramirez, exactly. And I've worked my way up, as a PA, apprentice, assistant, additional associate. So clawed my way up in the union world, and I'm a proud Editors Guild member, and so I tend to go back and forth at the moment. But the dream, obviously, is to just cut all types of films, indie and non.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're off to a pretty good start. In terms of the editorial process itself, were there any tools or features in Media Composer that you relied upon to get In the Summers to work as well as it did?
Yeah, we did script sync, which was really, really always helpful. I trained under Anne McCabe, and she instilled that in me. I did a lot of that, prep manual or automatic, just doing a lot of scripting. So that was super important. I don't know, I love working with Avid in general. It's just like very dynamic platform and software. So there are many other tools that I use, but I end up also we do a lot in special effects in Avid as well. Cool. We tend to keep it local for that as well. But yeah.
All right. And so, again, going back to when you described the film, we said it sounds like a very complicated story, very challenging story, and certainly in terms of tone. If you had to boil it down to, and I sort of hit or miss on this question, sometimes editors can't really answer this, but in terms of a challenge that you faced on this project, if you had to answer the question, well, the most challenging aspect of doing In the Summers was this.
I would say it was the structure of it. It was there were so many scenes that within each summer can go kind of anywhere. So we had a lot of jigsaw puzzling, and we had our wall cards up when we were in person at the edit suite, which were so important, just to kind of get a sense of where's this character at this point, like finding our protagonists throughout all of that, and then at times compressing summers into one, which we did with our first summer, for example. So it was I think that was the most challenging piece, was kind of looking at it almost like a documentary in a way. Like we had all these, the script was fantastic. Alessandra Carosa did an amazing job. But once you see the footage, sometimes both of us, and she's an editor by trade as well, so we, really just ripped it apart in the best possible way, I hope, and put it back together in the way that, how it's going to be seen here at Sundance.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt a lot of hard work went into it, and I'm sure that hard work paid off because you are here at Sundance. Congratulations on that, and thank you so much for taking time to talk to us.
It's great to be here, Matt.
All right. Okay, so Adam Dicterow, In the Summers, you heard it yourself. We're going to be standing out here until they drag me away, I guess, with more editors, more filmmakers to talk to. So stay with the Avid social media channels for more great content from here in Park City.